correct?
Yeah, the idea had been floated around maybe for even a couple, 3 years before that, of getting some kind of a recognition award for people that really did, were big contributors to the road commission and our costs, so.
So we have up on the board over there, we have the names on the plaques of the folks that have been awarded this recognition award to date. And tonight we are going to award 3 awards to township supervisors that have been great help to the road commission. We have John Krogel, Mark Brown, and Don Gloy. And we didn't like set an exact way of doing this, but John did put together a presentation for each one of these that I'm gonna read one of them. I'm gonna start with John Krogel, okay? And I don't know, should we read this and then take photos, or just read all 3 and
I think
then?
we've always done all of them, and then we took pictures afterwards, you know, we get some pictures with the board and.
All right, so I will start with John Krogel. John has a bachelor's and master's degree from the University of Michigan in Urban and Planning Development. John worked as the manager of the technical writing company. He also served for 11 years as Fabius Township Supervisor. Fabius has always been a good participant in roads. John worked hard when the allocation fund was formed to stabilize it at 50-50, so the townships would know year to year what to expect and to budget accordingly. One highlight was working with Chris Minger to do Harder Road with a grant for rubberized HMA. Another was doing all 5 miles of Coon Hollow, making it by far the biggest project on any local road in a 1-year time frame. During a time when relations between the county commission, the road commission, and the township were contentious, the county commission formed the roads committee. John and 2 other supervisors were the first to serve on this committee, helping to accomplish its goal of improving communications, relationships, and ultimately roads. John also served several times on the county commission's interview committee to appoint road commission board members. That was what John wrote. I have a relationship with John because I was the manager of West Side Landfill for 30 years, and John was the supervisor of Fabius Township. And during that time, we had to work together for John to receive the monies that Waste Management had, and we started a couple projects together on that, one of them being the styrofoam recycling thing. John and Barb came to me and asked that we start this. It was from Cooper Township, I think, up in Kalamazoo, that we kind of took that on. So anyway, John and I have worked together quite well over the years as manager and supervisor. So I really appreciated that relationship that I had with him outside of the road commission. So anyway, they have John, and then Rodney asked to read Mark's presentation.
So, Mark Brown's presentation. Mark graduated from Constantine High School, then from Kalamazoo College, also earned a law degree from Cooley Law School. Mark was a longtime public servant in St. Joseph County, served as friend of the court and as the court administrator for the 45th Circuit Court. Mark served 6 years as on the Constantine Village Council. He then served 8 years on the Constantine Township Board, with 4 of those as Township Supervisor. Mark worked willingly to accomplish the reconstruction of Constantine Road. This township line road required the cooperation of Constantine Township, White Pigeon Township, Florence Township, St. Joseph County Road Commission, and the County Commission. Through many years of this process, when other entities made things difficult, Mark always provided the voice of reason and worked to resolve the issues. Mark says he thoroughly enjoyed working with St. Joseph County Road Commission and was always impressed with road knowledge that its people possessed. I would just add, as Eric did, I've known Mark for a long time, good friend. This is said very well and very politely, but Mark was a voice of reason in a very combative situation, and probably Constantine Road would still be called the worst road in the county if it wasn't for Mark Brown. So it's nice when a nice guy can help get things done. And we very much appreciate that because it spills over in other ways. When somebody proves that people can come together and work together for a common interest and get something solved, other townships notice that, but I think other entities do too. I hope that other organizations within the county even see that and think, well, if they can get that done, maybe we can get our problem solved. And I think Mark had a lot to do with that, so, thank you, Mark.
I would just like to chime in that I was new as the manager and came into that situation. Your section was already done, Don, when I said I was manager. But there were a lot of entities that had to come together. It was the worst road in St. Joe County, undoubtedly. So I came into it kind of sideways, and that's what you did for me, Mark. You just provided the voice of reason and calmed some people down, and it got done finally. And it's a nice road.
All right, and last but certainly not least, we have Don Chloe's presentation. As White Pigeon Township Supervisor for 36 years, 36? I thought it was actually 40, was it 36? Okay. For 36 years, Don was a very effective leader and advocate for the citizens of White Pigeon Township. His quiet demeanor proved to be a tremendous asset in his work to resolve issues and improve communications. Don's workmanship resulted in White Pigeon Township being the first in St. Joseph County to pass a road millage. I'm going to repeat that. Don's workmanship resulted in White Pigeon Township being the first in St. Joseph County to pass a road millage. That's quite an accomplishment. Much of Don's work ethic came from 2 years he spent in the Army. Don also worked for 20 years at the village of White Pigeon. He says that OJT, on-the-job training, is where he acquired his skills. During a time when relations between the County Commission, the Road Commission, and the townships were contentious, the County Commission formed the Roads Committee. Don and 2 other supervisors were the first to serve on the committee, helping to accomplish its goal of improving communications, relationships, and ultimately roads. Shortly after I took over as manager, shortly after John took over as manager, he warned me about that, but Don brought a newspaper to our November meeting highlighting a quote that John made about matching the township's 50-50 for road projects. White Pigeon had just passed its road millage, and he challenged me to match $134,000, which we did. Other highlights include the Brighton Road dock issue and getting consensus to pave Marathon Road. I've known Don for quite a bit longer than that, actually. My first job when I moved to St. Joseph County was working for a small local civil engineering firm, and we did the engineering for Don at White Pigeon. I've known Don for quite a while. We've constructed a lot of roads and sewers and stuff like that. So we've known each other for a long time. I really appreciate the relationship he had. One of the things that Don did when I first became a road commissioner was he challenged me to prove that the millage money that was getting spent in all the townships was getting distributed in accordance with the amount of money that is generated in that township. And I said, Don, sure, I'll get that for you, no problem. Well, it turned out Don was right. It wasn't exactly balanced. We owed White Pigeon some dollars for those years. So anyway, congratulations to you 3. We all really appreciate all the stuff that you've done for us, and so let's take some photos.
Eric?
Yes, sir.
As John's aware, Eric and I both are on the Board of Public Works, and your township sewer plant would not be the way it is if it hadn't been for you. I'll just be blunt. I mean, you put your heart, soul, came after us for money, and even caused me to get yelled at by the county treasurer because of what Amy was doing. Remember that?
Yeah.
Paying the bills without us knowing about it, but anyways, thank you for what you've done.
And maybe before the pictures, Don and John, you sat on that roads committee. I was not there when that roads committee was formed. I wrote that little piece in there. You know, you guys know that it's evolved a lot since then, right? But maybe you could tell us, what was it like them first few meetings of having a roads committee, and I come from the angle that I know that the road commission didn't wanna be there. Is that fair to say? They didn't feel like the county had any business in their business?
I think you guys summed it up in two of your things, contentious, and the other one was contentious. But I think we worked through it. I mean, you know, I wasn't willing to budge, and Cole wasn't willing to budge, and then finally, he said, wait a minute, didn't get anywhere. So, everybody conceded a little bit, and here we are.
Well, it was good to open up the communication. There was definitely some barriers there, and there were some, bombs being lobbed over the wall at each other. So those local roads aren't our responsibility. Go talk to the township, and I think the township had to point out, the state says we have no authority for doing this, so it kind of forced us to, let's back up and work together and figure this out. John was a good mentor in all that. He's much older than me.
And John, I think that you were probably the instigator behind Fabian's Township having a roads committee. Is that true? Or is that
No, I
before
think
your
that,
time?
I think that predated me, but we
Okay.
were one of the few to have that, which
I think you're the only
recommend to any
one.
township, because it pulls even more of the grassroots feelings from the community in terms of what roads need to be done. And, I don't know, John, I think remarkably, a lot of the times the roads that our roads committee highlighted and brought to the board were similar to what the county road commission was saying, these are the roads we're looking at. Sometimes we had to refine things a little bit, but we were all pretty much looking at the same thing. So,
We look at the data, the pacer ratings and all that, and obviously the pacer ratings guide us to tell you where your worst road is. And you people traveling generally come to, we flip them around. I mean, if you'd rather do this one than that one, not a big deal to us right now, we've done that several times, but they're all bad. I
you
mean,
got the
those-
data, we got, the supervisors have the screening.
But just to let you know, the roads committee, turned out to be a really good deal. I think some of you were still there when, Mike Himes came to it, right? This is when we were at the courthouse, and then, Sherman came, Steve Wolf. And finally, some of you were leaving by then, I don't remember what all, but I told, Dennis Allen, I said, Dennis, why don't we just invite them all? You're never gonna get 16 people, you know, township supervisors to be here, but maybe you get 6 or 8 this time, and so we've done that, we moved the meeting down here, you know, and, we have great participation, you know, so we always have 2 of our board members on it, 2 county commissioners, you've been there, Christina. It's a very good communication tool, and it's really helped, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, John, maybe you know, but when it first started, Chris was struggling with getting townships to participate. It was very hit or miss, and once things stabilized, I don't know what your participation level is now, but you've got nearly all the townships working with you, don't you?
It's funny, I had Brittany put me a spreadsheet together, and I didn't print one for you, but actually, I do have extra copies. I will tell you what it has done for this county. You guys all have these in your packet, I was gonna go over my manager's report, but just I only track back to what I was here. I know there's other stuff that's been done, but you guys got 3 extras, so you guys can look them over, but see what that allocation fund has produced since 19. Again, I took over in October of 18, so our first project here was 19. But I think really just go to the bottom right corner and you can see where there was $16 million worth of road improvements made over the last 6-7 years, whatever it was.
Wow.
So the fruits of that labor of the roads. And down there included in that spreadsheet is the county failed road bridge fund for you 2 guys. There's other money that was actually spent on bridges, it's not in this part of the report, because I am coming to you with the report. But it's a pretty impressive amount of money, all total $16,716,000 that have been spent on local roads. I can tell you that that's not happening in Calhoun County.
and you can tell when you drive into
They
Kalamazoo.
can pick them up. I know they have a good program for participation in Kalamazoo. It's a little different than this. There's a very, very complicated formula where it takes in whatever amount of FPL funds is due to that township and they put it through a formula. And then the road commission will match X amount. It's different for every township. This is cut and dry, 50-50. Works good. It's worked good for us, I think. And we've improved some roads. I have another sheet in there. It includes the primaries along with the locals. But since 2019, I think we've got, I think it's 213 miles of new road surface. I'm talking either asphalt overlay, total reconstruct like we had out here, or Constantine Road, and the chip seal reconstructs that we do on some of the lower travel roads. On an 800-mile hard surface network, that's a pretty good start.
Yeah, I guess I feel a little bit remiss in that, I suggested we start photos, but would you three like to say anything? I guess I'll start with
Don, let the dog.
Where's the talk?
John's losing lots for words.
I just wanted, I thought about this before we came. I just wanted to thank the road commission, because I think you work real well together and you're getting the job done. That's the way it seems to me, it always has. So, you know, the administration, the employees, the board, all of you work together for our benefit, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Don, John?
I would just like to, quickly thank the board for recognizing myself and the other two supervisors. It's an honor to be recognized by the road commission as well as the county commissioners. And, it's been a privilege working with you, all of you dedicated, and I mean dedicated folks. I appreciate that, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know that there's a whole lot I could add. It's been good working with the road commission. Enjoyed working with Chris, and especially enjoyed working with John. You got a good group here, and you do a great job.
Good, thank you. All right. All right, what do you say, John suggested maybe